Today I'm making a beautiful scrappy quilt completely off the top of my head. There is no pattern, just some chaotic twists and a lot of fun along the way. Can I actually pull this off? Let's find out. We have 3 different blocks to make, so let's get moving. I am using all my tricks to make this quilt an absolute breeze. First, we worked with strips instead of individual pieces. I need 2 7.5 by 3.5 inch strips to start with. If your strips are larger, as long as you can cut 7 or 7.5 inch pieces out of them, you can go ahead and use the bigger pieces. If you don't have strips, you need 4 3.5 inch squares for the first block. I am doing 7.5 instead of 7 inches because I always like to have a bit of wiggle room before trimming. We also need 1.5 inch strips that is as long as the other pieces. The most important thing to know about this quilt is we will play with values. It's what makes the full effect I need. We have darker fabrics like the one I'm using for this block, and we have medium fabrics like the one I'm using for the sashing. Then for the other blocks, we will need lighter fabrics, and if you don't have a lot of these, that's fine. Just grab your colored fabrics and turn them around. Either way, your scraps will be more than enough for what we need today because this first block is actually the largest. From here, we move on to the smaller pieces. So essentially, I am making little colorful windows with my fabrics. This is a quilt pattern that I am making on instinct, basically. I know the kind of look I want, and I just deconstruct it in my mind to form quilt blocks. And if that's something you struggle with, let me know in a comment if you'd like me to do a video on how to deconstruct quilt patterns. I have been thinking about making a video like that, but I'm not sure if you're interested. If you follow my Instagram account, you know I've been to Edinburgh recently and I fell in love with the tartan patterns. The Harris tweed you see everywhere in the prettiest colors. I considered buying it and making a quilt, but it was so heavy and bulky, I just didn't have the room for it in my small backpack, so I decided to make a similar pattern instead. It's essentially a plaid quilt pattern, except I am doing it differently than what most quilters do. You know me, I always like to add some twists to my quilt. Also, I think my pattern will turn out a bit quirkier, without making it chaotic. For me, it is a happy pattern made with happy colors that will put a smile on your face. Playing with scraps and creating something unique, it is all about fun today. And all it takes is 3 blocks, a bigger, darker one, a smaller 5-inch squares in all light colors, and a middle ground that's like 7 by 5 inches to connect the two. It's such a harmonious pattern, so clever if I may say so myself. If it looks anything like I've imagined in my head, it is going to be so special. As far as repeating fabrics go, you can totally do that, especially if it's a larger quilt. But I'm just doing 36 blocks today, so I don't have a lot of room for repetitions. But I'm still repeating fabrics, just combining them differently and scattering them, and that should be more than enough to make this work. For the 2.5 pieces we're using for the second and the third quilt blocks, you can totally use jelly rolls. That will save you so much time cutting fabric, which I really do appreciate. Also, for each block number 1 and number 3 we make, we need 2 of number 2, the rectangle ones. So when I say 36 blocks, I mean 9 of block 1, the larger one, 9 of block 3, which is the smaller, lighter one, and 18 of block 2, the rectangle one. Also, I am keeping the sashing always the same size, always 1.5 inches, because eventually it is all going to be turning into a continuous line. So we want them to look the same. Having said that, I can tell you right now, these won't be the same at all. I am going to have some wider sashing, some thinner sashing, and maybe even some wavy sashing, depending on how perfect my seam allowances are. And spoiler alert, they are not perfect at all, but also because I am using scraps, and scraps can be unpredictable, especially if you sewn them and then once they became leftovers, you had to rip the seams. They twist and bend and do all sorts of cool stuff. Fortunately, this is a very forgiving pattern, so we're good. Also, I feel like I should always make this disclaimer. The sizes of the quilt blocks always depend on your seam allowance. I always use my 1/4 inch presser foot with a guide, but I have recently realized that the 1/4 inch seam allowance in my 3 sewing machines are all different. And for this machine, it's wider than most. So what I advise is to find the true size of your blocks, you need to measure the width of the 3 pieces sewn together, the 2 bigger pieces and the sashing. You find an even number in that width. Like imagine you're measuring 5/4 or something similar. You can trim it to 5 inches. And then you know your width. It's by far the best way to make sure you have got perfect squares doing your own measurements. And our pretty windows are done and ready to go. And nothing to it, and no stress, no pressure, just pretty fabrics and a lot of fun. Let's take a look at our 36 blocks. We start out with block 3, our lighter and smaller block with lighter fabrics on the end and a medium fabric for the sashing. Then we move on to our rectangles, our block 2, medium fabrics for the ends, and for the sashing, we start out with a dark fabric and finish with a light fabric sashing. This block truly has a little bit of everything. Last but certainly not least, we are back to the beginning with block 1, made of darker fabrics with the medium fabric sashing, and this is the bigger one. Each block has such an important part in the big chaos that is this quilt. I cannot wait to see how they all come together. So let's go ahead with our first puzzle. Yes, there are 2 puzzles in this quilt just because they are fun to make. We need 4 blocks, 1 block 1, 2 block 2, and 1 block 3. There are a lot of things I considered doing differently for this pattern, but ultimately I chose simplicity, and that's what we're getting. Like we could have added a small intersection in the middle of our blocks, like an extra detail that would draw out your eye and would make it maybe a little bit more elegant. And maybe I will do another version down the line with that. But for now, there was so much novelty in this quilt pattern, I figured I should make life simpler for myself. And if you agree that this is a truly special quilt, then you will be very happy to know that I will be finishing this quilt on my Patreon and my YouTube membership. I am sandwiching, quilting and binding this beauty because that's what it deserves. No hiding in a storage box for this pretty quilt. It deserves to be in a spotlight, don't you agree? If you want to watch that video or any other of the exclusive videos I'm always adding on there, just check out the link in the description, and thank you for supporting my work. I truly appreciate it. As far as growing this quilt, if you want to grow it in the number of quilt blocks, you don't need to always have the 4 blocks together, okay? For the ends, you can just add half and it truly won't show. This pattern is a perfect continuity. You can do whatever you want. Now, if you want to grow it by making the blocks larger, you can go as long as you'd like. Just make sure that block 2 has one side that's the same size as block 1 and the second side that's the same size as block 3, and just go crazy with it. It truly is that simple. And this is what we have with our 4 blocks sewn together. How cool is this looking already? Time for our second and final puzzle, the one where it all comes together. It's a small puzzle at that, so it should take little to no time to sew our big blocks into a stunning quilt. So very few blocks to sew and press, we should be done in no time whatsoever. And even though we are working with very few blocks, the rules are still the same. We need to sew our pairs first and then join the rows, and then once our rows are complete, we join them together in the full quilt. And yes, you can play around with them a little bit, but I think that the way they are, you know, with the colors completely different, all scattered amongst the quilt, it's a perfect combination. And you know me, I always like to change things up until the last minute, but I think, yeah, this one is a winner. And also, yes, we need to nest our seams. And you may wonder, why? In the midst of all this chaos, of all this color, do we really have to? And my answer is yes, sadly yes. Maybe you wouldn't notice if you just threw the squares as they were, you know, just putting the blocks together and see where they fall. But we already have so much color, so much contrast, so much teeny tiny pieces that to me, nesting the seams is kind of a fail-safe, you know, a way to make sure that things are a bit orderly in the midst of all the blooms, all the explosions of color. I think it helps to maintain this quilt somewhat organized, let's put it this way. Also, because we have already pressed our seams and, you know, done everything right with the trimming and whatnot, I don't expect us to find too much trouble when nesting our seams. Then all we need to do is press one final time and we are good to go. And here we have it, our plate quilt looking so colorful and happy. I could look at it all day long. And if you want to know how I finished this quilt, do not forget to check out my Patreon or my YouTube membership and see for yourself. The link is in the description. Thank you for joining me. I had a blast. I hope you did too, and I will see you soon. Happy quilting. Bye bye.